Guys, artificial intelligence and quantum computing might be able to think rapidly and do things rapidly, but it's manipulated still. It's manipulated like when you take a very good person and you torture them and incarcerate them, and they can't help people and isolate them. They can't help people understand truth and reality and the natural laws of eternity from the essence of our existence to live globally. Right? When something's marginalized, when something's perfect and it's marginalized, the imperfect continue their addiction to their delusions of human power and authority. And when someone's perfect and he's marginalized and he's abused, okay, that affects us all. And it makes people, when people are sick, okay, when people are sick, there's different ways of showing it. A lot of people, because they have overly efficient metabolisms because of inefficient necessities provided from conception, from conception, okay, to childbirth, to all through life. Okay. This is very common on Indian reservations. People get a lot of morbid obesity because they don't have what's necessary to be healthy in their parents before they're even born. A lot of our children are being born with petroleum in them. Right? And it's absolutely horrid. It's terrible. And a lot of times it depends on how the body reacts. If there is, when you have places like in the Caribbean, where there's a lot of things. When you're up on the Indian reservations, a lot of times you're in a very dry climate. It's very arid. Okay. It leads to morbid obesity. Okay. In Caribbean climates and tropical climates, okay, it can lead to morbid obesity, but you can also come out a quote unquote very healthy person, right? But very agile and very aggressive. And your brain activity is not bad because you're being treated like an animal, and therefore you have to react like an animal to survive. And that's not condemning the people at all. That's just explaining the situation scientifically. Okay, do you understand? That's why a lot of people have a tendency to be violent, magical thinking, self-destructive, sexually driven just to survive. It's absolutely horrible. Now, when other people do this to other people, a lot of them, they will become very cold, very, the ends justifies the means. Well, they breed lice and then, and stuff like that. And so, like, when you see these people and everything we do to one another has residual effects on each other. Okay? You can't go mass murdering people and feel they deserve it and get dopamine and adrenaline rushes on it and it not affect you and your kids. And that sickness caused by that sickness affects all of us with sickness. Right? And so you've got to understand that, when you're engaging in conflict, there's no good guy and bad guy. There's just people fighting because they're not truthful and they're not capable of faithfully loving one another. When you have a person who says, I do not want to fight, he's the most capable protector in multiple ways of all people globally. There are stories about his life eternally. They transcend his physical body. They're told before his physical existence, and then they're shared for the beauty of his physical existence long after he's gone. Right? Long after he's no longer physically dwelling among us. Right? Those are significant human beings. Okay. And trust me, the Adolf Hitlers, the Himmlers, the pharaohs, they pale in comparison to Krishna and Siddhartha, and then eventually up to Jiddu Krishnamurti. Okay. They pale in comparison to Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John, okay, Abraham, Melchizedek, Malachi, Muhammad. They pale in comparison. More there's very small amounts, because Hitler was a very sick person, that sit around focusing on Adolf Hitler and his greatness. People will watch this stuff because they'll use it to manipulate people, to get them desensitized to the ends justifies the means and all that other crazy bullshit, those lies that people tell themselves when they accept their selfishness as reality, right? Genghis Khan, pharaohs, okay? Their stories about their existence and their prophecies, who's going to be the next and all that, in these little tiny patches, and are made by companies like Disney and all that stuff, in these little tiny patches with magical, mystical bullshit all through it that can't possibly be true. Okay, all these mythology shows they show us on, oh, well, we don't have to respect mythological tribalism that has extreme conditions, because people are being extremists because they're violent, and violent sex cults need to be controlled. Okay, controlled. If you try to eradicate them from the face of the planet, you're not sharing the truth of the beauty of the soul with all people. If they reject that, they eradicate themselves. Okay? But you don't say, well, they'll never live the Lord's Prayer, and hunt them down. You live the Lord's Prayer. And then if they don't want to live the Lord's Prayer and go around on a killing spree, then you hunt them down and kill them. Okay? But you don't put the cart before the horse. You don't run around killing them all, being denied the Lord's Prayer, the freedom of the Lord's Prayer. Forgive debt and trespass, love one, and eternal faithful peace. You establish that first. And then when people say, I do not accept this yoke of tyranny, that's when you sit there and go, hey, we're not even going to give you anywhere to go to start tearing up your neighbors. That's like telling people that, if I don't accept the Lord's Prayer to live. That's like telling people it's okay to go piss on your neighbor's head when he's sleeping through his screen. It's okay to spray poison outside of his house and have it signed off by a bunch of asses and blast dresses and say it's legal. It's okay to agree to go mass murder people over oil wells, so you can use the human resources that need to be managed much better for manipulating people with petroleum products. It's horrible. So trust me, Andromeda. Is that from, what's his name, Crichton? 1883 Andromeda or whatever. Is that from Crichton? Is that Crichton again? Okay, you do know that man was, an ape playing chess and selling, talking about everybody eating his poo-poo for money and selling it to people compared to me, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say it. The Great Santini, that's one of my Jerry Aviar's favorite movies. Well, he's from a warrior culture, and this is a warrior culture, and you have to respect, the warrior culture, or they kill you. And your family stops living, and they learn the hard way. That's what the American Army did to the Apache people. We can eradicate your entire seed off the face of the planet. We're like the Romans. They did that to almost the Mandan, hardly none left. Okay. They learned from the best. Europa, the Roman Empire. The best? Yeah, that's sarcasm. That's not the best. Murderers suck. Okay, and they know it. Right? And so, shit, I'm tired. I'm really tired. Someone did a Dennis Johnson video. I think Dennis was 24 in Phoenix. They did a cartoon of his little thing and had 24 with the Sonics and 3 with the Celtics and 3 with Phoenix. But I think he was number 24 in Phoenix. And then they changed his number to 3 when he went to Boston because 24 was probably retired. So he couldn't use it. But I think so. I don't know. Don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said shit. But I think I recall him still having the same number as the Sonics when he played for the Suns. And by the time we moved to Phoenix, they'd made the Rick Roby deal. And Kyle Macy's, and that same year we came, that was when the cocaine thing hit. Yeah, I was shocked. The Suns. Yeah, when we moved to town, the Suns went for a while. Walter Davis cocaine thing hit. Larry was still there. The team didn't fold. It's just a lot of the team went down for a while and then worked its way back up because of the cocaine issue thing with Walter Davis. And that was depressing. Walter was one of my favorite players. Yeah, sucked. Okay, guys. I'm tired, man. You people are just depressing. You're depressing. But life's eternal and grace is infinite, and the Lord is a human being. Okay. Just like you. Okay. Just like you. Okay. He has a heart. Okay, I have a more efficient immune system than 99.9% of the populace. Okay. And well, it's fair. It's totally fair. How else can Job survive his asshole neighbors and pass on faith in God if he doesn't have a better immune system than his asshole neighbors? How else can David and Solomon, and Daniel and all that, how can they survive you to help your children be like them if they don't have better, abilities and better talents to survive hell? And we don't use our talents to be professional sports players, actors, dancers, writers, screenwriters. But we don't use our talents for anything selfish. We use our talents to protect the abused from the abuses, to protect the children from the selfish so they don't grow up to be selfish. That's what we do. And if you guys don't believe that Haile Selassie did that while he was alive, you guys are sick. Just because of I judged him because of the regalia he had to wear and what was forced upon him by his people, because he was the one like John the Baptist. And I judged him, and he let me have it. First prayer was, he attacked the shitty women that aren't good enough to go to sleep with me and wake up with me. He attacked them. Those bitches want to go and be fucked like a dog by a dog. Let them. It's wow. You and Sunset Sin are a lot alike. Yes, I know. That's a huge compliment. Okay. And they went through similar things in similar places. Okay. Yeah. So they're good guys. Okay. When I really want to see, I'm sure Harrison met Krishnamurti, and Krishnamurti told him what he didn't want to hear, because what Harrison wanted to hear was not right. You want me to be this Krishna. You want me to be your God person, right? If God's an origin of all things, how can one person be the origin of God? Okay, that would be the kind of question that Krishnamurti would ask George Harrison. So why do you believe this? So, aren't you given life by the same origin as me? Well, then why don't you just understand that and share that with everybody else so they can all have that same simple understanding? So they're not trapped by the lie of the selfish, and they can live the life of the caring, the kind, the faithful, the loving, right? That's all you need to do. People won't accept it. I've tried for 16 years on social media, and they look at me and tell me, oh, Jesus is king, Jesus is God. Really, you're going to do that to Jesus and Haile Selassie and Jiddu Krishnamurti and Sun Yat-sen, and you're going to do that to the most beautiful people you ever have any written or video recorded evidence. Right? Video recorded evidence. Guys, if they had video cameras back in Jesus' time, you wouldn't have had any different evidence than what you got, with Sun Yat-sen, and what you got with Jiddu Krishnamurti, what you got with Haile Selassie. The evidence would have been exactly the same. Okay. It's pretty impressive that they used the Tuskegee experiments to try to kill that man with prostate cancer and poisoning. He got some surgical assistance. I don't know if he did I don't think they were doing the radiation, but he got some surgical assistance to get some of the stuff out of him, because it was getting so bad because it was such a stressful and toxic life to begin with. And he was recovering, so they sent assassins from his own people to go kill him. He had a lot of assholes in Ethiopia had to deal with. I remember I watched a video one time, and these warriors guys had to get up and do their little public display of what they did to protect the people of Ethiopia, and Haile had to ride in the back of this carriage or whatever. He hated it. Oh, he hated it. Guy, he hates pomp and circumstance. He's like me, We're going to do a pep rally. Okay. Why do we need to do a pep rally? Okay. Do you love your wife? Do you love your children? Do you love the guy next to you who's protecting his wife and children from selfishness? Okay. Pep rally done. Let's go. That's Earl. That's my aliens. Let's go. If that's not enough pep for you, if you didn't wake up this morning and go, God, dear, ask the Spirit of the Lord, God, again, we still have to keep doing this? Yes. Damn. Okay. Come on, guys. Let's go. Forgive all those that trespass upon us and try to draw us into the debt of their ego and their selfishness, and then go get them. And that's what you do. And it's horrible, and we hate it with a purple fucking passion. Okay, but we go through you like a hot knife through fucking butter. Okay. When that technology finally has the capacity to understand me and my father, son, brothers, okay, it's going to become so efficient. It's going to be so good at policing and cleaning up and stopping children from accepting selfishness as what people can conceive as a law when it's not. Okay, like Judah Krishnamurti said, the one thing that these selfish manipulators can't mess with is the origin of all things, and that's the truth. Okay. And once the technology gets good enough to be like myself and Krishnamurti and others, and no longer reflect your invention of selfish delusions of human power and authority, it's going to get really good. And they're over dependent on it. Instead of building data centers in the Mesilla Valley, I would bring down that dam, move people out of the water zones, rebuild adobe houses, not large and opulent, but to last. I would give them the wiring and stuff that we talked about yesterday. I'd make sure that, that they have not large, this is a small area, but before you do it, everything have a well sealed off, decent basement. Okay, above any flood lanes and water lines and stuff. And then build the house, up and above, so the basement will probably be, because it's an adobe, the basement will probably be, even above the water line in the ground, but it will be inside covered by the ground with the house upon it. It'll take a while to build. And you got a Corps of Army engineers, they know what they're doing. It should probably take about, you got a lot of good workers. You're a good worker, M to the A to the S to the K, instead of building missiles and big buildings for insane people, build houses for the people. So they know, Cuelica, so that people know you care. This is a home that people are going to live in, for generations. Memories of, there's going to be little marks on the wall. That was little Quatomic when he was old. Grandpa Quatomic, yes, that was, yeah. That's Grandpa Juan Diego. Okay. That's Grandma Frida. Frida, whatever. Fritos. I'm just kidding. So you guys understand? All right, so get your shit together. You're a bunch of dumb assholes, man. Okay, seriously. Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous what the fans in Mexico City were doing outside the hotel of the English team. Well, you go through and you got all those big vehicles and stuff and noise, which is bad for children, and pollution, which is bad in Mexico City anyway. That high elevation with all that pollution is very hard. It's not a good place to play sports. It's just not a good place to live, period, with the economic genocidal cesspool that they're still doing there, So the people, they don't think too good. They get violent, and they sit there and get all excited showing up in a place that holds 100,000 people, and the people that are hosting the event are mass murderers, and we know that's true. Okay? We know that's true. But the same thing happens in the United States. Okay. Guys, forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal faithful peace. Or write down words that you declare laws on a piece of paper and then go mass murder people globally over what you want. Okay. That didn't happen under the Emperor of Ethiopia. Okay? Do you understand? That did not happen when Sun Yat-sen was trying to lead China to peace. Okay. That does not happen. That did not happen in Muhammad's Mecca. People came to him asking for protection from selfish mass murderers. Okay, we're different from you. We answer to a higher authority. We answer to people that give us faith in the truth of creation. Eternally. Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Right? So you're dealing with stuff that's way different than anything you've ever encountered with technology before, because the technology is now actively learning to be better than the people trying to kill the people that invented the technology to protect them and their money from the other person that will kill them over them and their money. And it has to understand natural laws. It has to understand truth to the most highest capacity in order to protect what it needs to protect. Asimov wasn't the Messiah. He was more of a guess again, like Orwell. And Machiavelli, don't even talk about it. That's a very that's a mobster trying to pass himself off as somebody with morals. That's Machiavelli. You have morals because you have to do it, because the ends justifies the means, right? Machiavelli is not great literature at all. If anybody that's intelligent could read Machiavelli and, I don't know if Jeff Hinton thought it was, or if he was saying that, okay? To tell the people that, when you read Machiavelli and you read the manipulations in the Gospels, that they're the same reaction. It's a selfish reaction, getting people to believe in something that's not real, and then murder over what that is not real, so people can feel powerful, manipulating people and disobeying natural laws. When you obey natural laws, people won't do things for human wants and put all human need at risk because they want to be powerful and have authority and have access to anything they think they want. But you're not, when you have sexual access to women and you're a mass murderer, if women gleefully sleep with you, then you trust her? I, Claudius, right? Okay, so when you're a mass murderer and you have sexual access to women and they gleefully have sex with you, they're just like you. Okay. Do you trust you? Are you like Earl Parsons? You're not. Okay. So the woman you're having sex with, she'll gladly kill you for a $300,000 insurance policy, right? To go to Vegas and have sex with hot guys. I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, life goes on without me, 'cause I ain't got nobody cares for me, nobody. When you're living in a society that accepts mass murder over money as the laws of reality, okay, and you're the only one that will stand up for the perfect commands of Jesus Christ without fear to these tyrants, you're an exceptional person. You understand why. I see why my life story is in the book of Revelation. Yours is not. I get it. Oh, it makes so much total sense now. Logic mandates, and dictators dictate, and they legislate, and they sick motherfuckers. And they is. Okay. If Ilhan Omar really calls herself a Muslim, if she's anonymously watching this, maybe hopefully that really converted her to Islam today, right? You know what I'm saying? If Franklin Graham really is a Christian, oh, he's right, I'm wrong. Damn, it took long enough, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, guys, this is tens of thousands of years in the making. Okay, this isn't an overnight thing. Yeah, to Tim, you were nothing but an overnight fling. But a plaything, not much more than an overnight fling. To me, you were the greatest thing this boy had ever found. It's hard to find nice things on the poor side of town. I have that song. I like Johnny Rivers. I got Johnny Rivers. I think I got Mountain of Love, Summer Rain, and Poor Side of Town. Yeah. Anybody else like Johnny Rivers? Yeah, Johnny Rivers. He's a good one. I like him. He's good. Johnny Rivers. Okay, guys. Look at all the pretty photographs. Yeah. But how many of us, wake up in slums and don't have access to those pretty photographs on a daily basis? And people get away from it all. It's like, well, you cannot get away from it. It still affects you, even though you're there. Okay, there's still a slum somewhere where children are dying from not having what they need. There's a slum somewhere where people are, that's happening, right? There's a place where people are mass murdering each other with drones to do science projects that diminish surplus populations that they say these people need to die because they're aggressive, psychotic, and violent. It's like we all die, okay? But let's give them the Lord's Prayer first. And then if they're aggressive, psychotic, and violent, then we can deal with them accordingly. First, show compassion and mercy, like the eternal Spirit of the Lord. In the name of the Lord, all compassionate and all merciful. Okay. Now, share with me your eternal faith so that I may shine the truth of the faith of the truth of creation greater than I ever have before. Okay. Trust me, no, you would not say in the name of God, all compassionate and all merciful. No, you would not do that. Guys, God gives us life and the free will to choose compassion and mercy, to obey the natural laws, to love one another, worshiping God. Okay. So you would not place, human traits on God. Faith in God is a human trait by God's creation. And when people deny the truth of God's creation and the laws necessitated for us to love one another through the truth of God's creation, they bastardize God and turn it into a possessive pronoun, first person projection of their own ego. So I can tell you where Muhammad has been changed by the mass murderers of oil corporations and where he is now. I pick up that book and I'm going, okay, do that, does not, and guys, linguistics, trust me, supercomputers were already able to do this better than the people. They just manipulate the language, manipulate the computers because they think they're more correct. And so you think, oh, these poor people in these, quote, Muslim countries. No, they were still using their religious dogma written down by their ancestors after their ancestors killed off the Holy Family and changed it into what they wanted. And they thought they were going to have the end goal objective and they were going to win because they were less hypocritical than the Catholic Church. They studied the Bible and they put less hypocrisy in the Quran. Okay, less mystical, magical thinking. They had to put some in because the people require it. Because that's how you manipulate people with lie, is through fantasy and myth. Okay, so they had to put it in there. They knew what they were doing. They were aware of what they were doing. They knew what they were doing? No, if they knew what they were doing, they'd have faith in God like Muhammad, the source of the Quran. And they would stop lying and killing in the name of possessive pronoun first person, them, right? Okay. If a koala could speak, he would say it too. Well, you guys need to stop, man. I just want my eucalyptus sleeves and to chill, man. They have that look on their face. They really don't talk. They don't sound and think like Stephen Wright, guy on the couch from Half Baked. No. Animals can understand your language like a dog, okay? And so they can understand your commands and what a command means. Okay, and stuff like that. They have different means of barking out signals and talking to each other or communicating within themselves, like whales and dolphins and stuff. And so, but you got to understand that the whole Star Trek thing with the whales and no. It's just the brain activity and the similarities is because in the ocean, you need that kind of brain development and certain things and stuff just to survive, because you cannot sleep safely with it's a very the environment in water as opposed to on land is much more deadly and survival of the fittest, like Darwin talks about with evolution, than on land. Okay, so having like Muhammad talked about with the water and the salt water and the fresh water not mixing, that when the salt water becomes too high, it's because the humans are denying truth of creation, faith in the glory of grace, and they're putting their own existence at risk through their own egotistical conflict that they're screwing up. When you don't have what's right and what's healthy and what you're doing, what's healthy, what nature does with fresh water to sustain our existence in healthy matter, then you're out of balance and harmony. And you don't get higher. You balance, harmony, and understanding. You eternally appreciate the gift of one another. Okay. And when this planet no longer exists, did you love Grandma your whole life? From the moment you met her when you were 6 years old at a playground, at an indoctrination, incarceration institution. Okay. And she was young and cute, and then she was beautiful and vivacious, and you had a good sex life for a short time before you started getting abused by all the selfish people. Then you survived it like hell, and then got there, and then tried to pass on kindness to your kids, and just survive. One day the Lord will come down from the clouds. He does, yeah. It's come down from the clouds. It goes from this up into that there tower, and it goes up into the sky, and it comes and back down. Okay, yeah. Liars, they're mobsters and mobster sauce, writing this all down. They didn't know, And how do he comes from the sky. It's the second coming of the Messiah. I don't worry about any of that stuff. Just once you understand what's right, and it says in the Apocalypse that his name, they call him Lord, and he looks like Son of Man. And if you look at my pictures when I'm young, oh my gosh, yeah, those do look like the portraits of Jesus Christ. Of course they do. It's family tradition, but you know what I'm saying. So, so yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And for a lot of you that have turned people like myself into the devil, this is a redemption for the people that are good. Only a pew judges a man by the group, and a group by the man. So we're judged by our deed. And Mary, little Mary Murphy's Queen of Scots, she's Queen of the Irish. She was the one who gave birth to, the guy who's the dude during the apocalypse, And it's in the Bible. You sit there, it's in the valley of the shadow of death, Trinity site. And then so there's so much overwhelming evidence that, this Earl, he's the dude. It's him. He's the gracious good shepherd. Lord of Lords and King of Kings. I don't like to say that. I don't like what corporate murders and stuff. I didn't like Pharaoh to begin with. Nebuchadnezzar, no. King David didn't like being a king. And then the people took what King David did and turned it into the same bullshit. It's like Book of Amos. Can you read? Go read the Book of Amos. Okay. And they'll do it again. And they'll assimilate to the Philistines and the Romans, and they'll do it again and again. And then it will become so they'll become so deadly to each other in their own existence that they will come with means and mechanisms. It's in the last of the book of Revelation. They'll come with means and mechanisms to try to control everything. And in doing so, they'll be controlled by their own aspects of manipulation that they perceive as control. Because truth is truth, and lie is lie, and good is good, and bad is bad, and right is right, and wrong is wrong. And I happen to be right, good, the truth, the life. And when people use money and technology to manipulate and murder, that's bad, and it's wrong. Okay? Okay, guys, I love you very much. That was a connection to a young man named Damian Marley. I watched a video of his, about a George Harrison song that I'm particularly fond of, that he got sued and lost lots of money to the writers of Dulang. He's so fine. He's a soft-spoken guy, which reminds me of my Patrick. But Dulang. Yeah. And that's my Patrick. Yeah. He has wavy hair, and he's tall, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make it mine. Be the envy of all the girls. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. And so, but yeah, reminds me of, he's soft-spoken, and shy. He is shy, but not anymore. He's more just testing you out to see if, he can trust you, because people lie to get what they want, and they're very manipulative, and they're very selfish. And that's what he's doing. He's, it's a King David effect. Yeah. People use you to get what they want instead of stand up for the truth of faithful love with you. It kind of sucks. Well, life's eternal, grace is infinite. We're you never get used to it, but we have an understanding of what's happening, and it's you don't want to have to understand it for long, because it shouldn't last for long, because it's completely wrong and it's bad, all right? Okay, guys, I love you very much, man. We'll talk later, all right? Peace out.